Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like you're living someone else's life? You had big dreams once, but somewhere between responsibilities and fear, you lost them. Today, we're going to fix that. We're going to talk about how to reclaim the life you promised to yourself. Because that promise still matters. This is not just another motivational talk. This is a wake-up call. A reminder of that version of you who refused to settle. Because deep down, you know you were meant for more. Today, let's reignite that fire and bring you back to the path you always wanted to walk. The broken promise. There was a time in your life when you saw the world differently. You looked at the future and believed that anything was possible. You told yourself stories of the life you would live one day. The house you would own. The places you would see. The kind of person you would become. You pictured yourself successful, happy, and free. That promise you made to yourself was real. It wasn't just a fantasy. It was the purest reflection of who you truly wanted to be. But somewhere along the way, life started to pull you in another direction. Maybe it was responsibilities. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the voice of someone else telling you what you should or shouldn't do. You started to believe that your dreams were too big, that you weren't ready, that you didn't have what it takes, and slowly, you began to settle. You traded passion for security and ambition for comfort. You started walking on a road that wasn't yours. The truth is, most people don't break their dreams all at once. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens in small moments, in little compromises, in the times you said, "I'll do it later." That later became next week, then next month, then next year, and before you even noticed, years went by and the dream you once swore to protect started to fade. You told yourself you were being practical. You told yourself you were doing the right thing. But deep inside, you know the reality. You let go of that promise because chasing it felt uncomfortable. It demanded more of you than you were willing to give at the time. And instead of stepping into discomfort, you chose what was easy. That choice didn't happen just once. It became a habit. You started living a life that felt safe but empty. Think about that younger version of yourself for a moment. The one who believed. The one who was fearless. The one who didn't care what people thought. That version of you still exists. It didn't die. It's just buried under years of compromise and doubt. But here's the hard truth. Every time you wake up and live a life you never wanted, you're breaking that promise all over again. The broken promise is not just about missed opportunities. It's about losing yourself. It's about looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person staring back. It's about feeling like a stranger in your own life because this is not what you imagined. And you know it. You feel it every single day when you go to bed exhausted, not from chasing your dreams, but from carrying the weight of settling for less. You used to dream boldly. You used to wake up with fire in your heart, but now, that fire feels like nothing more than smoke, and deep down you know why. Somewhere along the way, you let the world convince you that you couldn't have what you wanted, that you weren't good enough, that the dream was too big for someone like you. And so, you stopped fighting for it. You stopped fighting for yourself. The cost of forgetting. When you forget the promise you made to yourself, it doesn't feel like a big deal at first. You tell yourself it's temporary, that you'll come back to it when the timing is better, when things are more stable, when life slows down. You convince yourself that you're just being realistic, that priorities change and dreams can wait. But the truth is, every time you push that dream aside, every time you silence that voice inside you, you start to lose a little piece of yourself. The cost isn't obvious in the beginning, but it grows, slowly and silently, until one day you feel it like a weight you can't shake off. The cost of forgetting starts with something small. A sense of discomfort, a quiet dissatisfaction that follows you everywhere. You wake up in the morning and go through your routine, but deep down, you know something is missing. You're not excited. You're not inspired. You're just existing. You go to work, you do your job, you come back home, and you repeat the cycle. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and before you know it, years have slipped by. And through all those years, that voice inside you never stopped whispering, "This isn't what we wanted." Then comes the regret. Not all at once, but in moments. Maybe it hits you when you see someone else living the life you wanted. You tell yourself they got lucky, or that they had something you didn't. But deep down, you know the truth. The difference wasn't luck. The difference was choice. They chose to fight for it while you chose to wait. And now, every time you see someone chasing their dream, you feel that sting of what could have been. That's the price of forgetting watching someone else live the life you once pictured for yourself. And it doesn't stop there. The cost of forgetting affects everything. It affects your confidence because the more you ignore your own dreams, the more you start to believe you're not capable of achieving them. You convince yourself that the dream was unrealistic, that it wasn't meant for you. You lower your standards, not because you want to, but because it feels easier than admitting you gave up. Slowly, you become someone you never wanted to be. Someone who settles, someone who plays small, someone who watches life happen instead of living it. Forgetting your promise also costs you your happiness. Think about it, happiness doesn't come from avoiding challenges or staying comfortable. It comes from growth, from pursuing something that matters to you, from feeling alive every single day, because you're chasing what sets your soul on fire. When you give that up, you trade joy for routine, passion for predictability. You start going through life on autopilot, doing what you have to do instead of what you love to do. And while that might feel safe, it's also empty. That emptiness is the silent tax you pay for abandoning your dream. It even affects your relationships. When you're not living authentically, when you're not true to what you want, it creates frustration. You start feeling resentful, not just toward yourself but sometimes toward the people around you. You blame circumstances, you blame responsibilities, you blame the world, when deep down, the only person who gave up on the dream was you. And that frustration spills into everything. It changes the way you show up for others, because it's hard to pour from an empty cup. The cost of forgetting also shows up in your mental and emotional health. You carry stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction, because you know you're not living the life you're capable of living. You feel stuck, and the longer you stay stuck, the heavier that feeling becomes. It eats at you quietly because you can't silence that inner voice forever. That voice doesn't go away. It keeps asking, what happened to us? What happened to the life we wanted? And the longer you ignore it, the louder it becomes. Not in words, but in feelings, frustration, sadness, disappointment. And then, there's the ultimate cost, the one most people don't think about until it's too late. Time. Time is the one thing you can never get back. You can make more money. You can rebuild a career. You can start over in many ways, but you can never rewind the clock. Every day you spend living a life that isn't yours is a day you can't recover. And when that realization hits, when you look back and see years of missed chances, it's one of the most painful feelings in the world. Because you can't go back and change the past. You can only live with the reality that you traded the life you wanted for a life that was convenient. And that price is heavier than any obstacle you could have faced while chasing your dream. Reclaiming your vision. The beautiful truth is this: no matter how far you've drifted, no matter how long you've ignored that voice inside you, the life you promised yourself is still out there waiting. It hasn't disappeared. It hasn't given up on you. It's just waiting for you to remember. That vision you once had, the one that filled you with excitement, is not gone. It's buried beneath years of doubt, fear, and compromise. And the moment you choose to dig it back up, everything begins to change. Reclaiming your vision starts with honesty. You have to stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you're okay when deep down you know you're not. Stop pretending you don't want more, just because you're afraid of what it will take to get there. The first step to getting your dream back is admitting that you still want it. And that's hard, because for so long you've been convincing yourself to settle, convincing yourself that comfort is enough, convincing yourself that passion is a luxury. But look at your life right now. Does it feel like enough? Does it feel like the life you once pictured when you made that promise? If the answer is no, then it's time to own it. Be brutally honest: you want more. You deserve more. And you can have more. The next step is to reconnect with that original vision. Go back to the beginning. What did you want before the world told you to shrink? What did you dream of before you started worrying about opinions, judgments, and limitations? Picture it vividly. The details, the feelings, the reasons why it mattered to you. Because the truth is, that vision wasn't random. It wasn't a fantasy. It was the real you speaking before fear had a voice. It was the purest version of who you are. And the reason it still pulls at you, even after all this time, is because it's yours. It always has been. Once you see that vision clearly again, you have to protect it. Because here's the reality: the world will always try to pull you back. There will always be voices telling you it's too late, it's too hard, it's too risky. There will always be distractions trying to steal your attention, responsibilities trying to keep you stuck, and fears whispering that you're not enough. Reclaiming your vision means building a wall around it so none of that can break through. It means choosing it every single day, no matter how loud the noise gets. Because this isn't just about a dream. It's about your identity. It's about becoming the person you always knew you could be. And you don't have to know every step right now. You don't need a perfect plan. What you need is commitment. The kind of commitment that says, no matter what, I'm not walking away from this again. You see, most people fail not because they don't have the ability, but because they lack the persistence. They quit when it gets hard. They quit when it takes too long. But reclaiming your vision means you don't quit this time. It means you keep going, even when it's slow, even when it's scary, even when it feels like nothing is working. Because the truth is, the dream doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to keep showing up. And here's something important. Reclaiming your vision doesn't mean waiting for the right moment. There is no right moment. There is only now. If you keep waiting until everything is perfect, you'll wait forever. You don't need the full staircase to take the first step. All you need is a single move in the right direction. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Take one small action today, no matter how tiny it feels. Because the moment you act, even in the smallest way, you take back your power. You take back control of your story. You also have to start believing again. Believing that you're capable, that you're worthy, that it's possible. Because if you don't believe in the vision, you'll never fight for it. And belief isn't something that just appears. It's something you build, day by day, through action and consistency. The more steps you take, the more your belief grows. And the more your belief grows, the stronger you become. That's how momentum starts. Not from waiting for confidence, but from moving without it until confidence arrives. Reclaiming your vision is not just about success. It's about freedom. The freedom to wake up every day and know you're living life on your terms, not someone else's. It's about that deep sense of fulfillment that comes from honoring your own promise. And yes, it will be hard. It will demand sacrifices. It will require you to stretch in ways you've never stretched before. But every challenge you face will be worth it, because every step will bring you closer to the person you were always meant to be. Taking relentless action, dreams without action are nothing more than wishes, and wishes don't change lives. They make us feel good for a moment, but they don't build the future we want. If you truly want to live the life you promised yourself, you can't just think about it, talk about it, or hope for it. You have to take action. And not just any action, relentless action. Action that doesn't stop when it gets hard. Action that keeps moving even when motivation fades. Because the truth is, motivation will disappear. Discipline and persistence are what will carry you when motivation is gone. Most people start strong. They feel inspired, they make a plan, they get excited about what's possible. But then life happens. Obstacles appear. Things take longer than expected, and that initial excitement fades. This is where most people quit. Not because they can't achieve it, but because they expected it to be easy. They thought the road to their dream would be smooth, and when it wasn't, they gave up. But if you're serious about reclaiming your vision and keeping your promise to yourself, you have to understand this: it will be hard. It will test you. It will demand more from you than you've ever given before. And that's exactly why it's worth it. Relentless action means showing up every single day, whether you feel like it or not. It means doing the work when no one is watching, when no one is clapping for you, when no one even knows what you're doing. It means putting in the effort on the days you're tired, on the days you're frustrated, on the days you wonder if it's even worth it. Because those are the days that separate the ones who make it from the ones who quit. Anybody can work when it's easy. Anybody can stay committed when everything is going right. But the ones who succeed are the ones who keep moving when everything is going wrong. Taking relentless action also means starting small, but starting now. Too many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. They tell themselves, I'll start when I have more time, more money, more confidence. But that day never comes. There will never be a perfect time. If you're waiting for everything to line up, you'll wait forever. The only time you have is now. And the truth is, you don't need a perfect plan, you just need to move. One step, one action, and then another. Because progress is built on momentum, and momentum only comes from movement. You also have to be willing to fail, and fail often. Most people avoid action because they're afraid of failure. They think failure means they're not good enough, that they're not cut out for their dream. But failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every mistake teaches you something, every setback makes you stronger, every obstacle you overcome builds resilience. The only real failure is quitting. Everything else is feedback. If you can embrace that mindset, nothing can stop you. You become unstoppable because you understand that setbacks aren't the end, they're part of the journey. Relentless action is not just about working hard, it's about working smart. It's about staying focused on what truly matters. Because when you start chasing your dream, distractions will come from everywhere. People will try to pull you in different directions. Opportunities that have nothing to do with your vision will tempt you. That's why you need clarity. You have to know what you want and why you want it. So when distractions show up, you can say no. Every yes to a distraction is a no to your dream. And if you want the life you promised yourself, you can't afford to say no to that. And let's talk about consistency. This is the part most people underestimate. Big changes don't come from one massive action. They come from small actions repeated consistently over time. It's not about doing everything in one day. It's about doing something every day. Even on the days you don't feel like it. Even on the days when the results aren't showing yet. Because here's the truth, the results will come, but they will come last. The work comes first. The sacrifice comes first. The patience comes first. And if you can stay consistent long enough, the life you promised yourself will stop being a dream and start being your reality. Relentless action is also about holding yourself accountable. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to push you harder than you push yourself. This is your dream. This is your promise. And no one else cares about it as much as you do. That means you can't rely on others to keep you going. You can't wait for someone to cheer you on. You have to be your own biggest supporter, your own motivator, your own source of discipline. Because when everything else fails, when no one else believes, you have to believe enough to keep going. And finally, relentless action means deciding, really deciding, that there is no turning back. Burning the bridges behind you so there's no option but forward. Because when you eliminate the escape routes, when you stop giving yourself the option to quit, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you rise above the excuses, above the fear, above the doubt. That's when you truly start living the life you promised to yourself.